1985 is a nostalgic year for many. Back to the Future, The Breakfast Club, the debut of the Golden Girls, Coca-Cola introducing the world to new Coke. Let's hope it works out for them. The Live Aid concert, and the discovery of the wreck of the Titanic. 1985 also sees my country of Kenya enjoy its 22nd year of independence from the Brits. Rather ironically, this year will be the 7th out of the 24 years that Daniel Arap Moi would rule with an iron fist as our second president. As a time traveler, I would therefore completely avoid visiting my motherland. Instead, I'll haunt movie theaters around the world, looking for a good time. And I'll be spoiled for choice. Look at this selection of great movies. Too many cultural icons for too short a video. I shall start with Tampopo. This movie is the main reason I created this channel. I have an addiction, you see. Whenever I'm done watching a movie, my first instinct is to rush to YouTube. I want to know what other people are thinking. Did they catch the details that I did? Even better, do they have a deeper understanding of the movie than I do? If I'm lucky, I can get lost in YouTube commentary for hours. Unfortunately, my taste is a perfect mix of the old and the niche. Or perhaps niche is not the right word. Let's say I watch movies which have fallen out of the zeitgeist. So here I am. Perhaps there's someone out there who's just finished Tampopo and would like to know what I'm thinking. So, a cowboy waltzes into town, discovers a friendly widow, and goes out of his way to help her. He tackles the local goons who've been harassing her, empowers her, and by the time he leaves town, she's better off than when he strolled in. They fall in love, yes, but westerns are not romances. And even when they are, bittersweet is the flavor they take on. You'd be wrong if you thought I was describing a Clint Eastwood picture, perhaps a Sergio Leone masterpiece, or one of the other myriad westerns produced during the golden age of Hollywood. You'd be right if you pointed at your screen and shouted, "That's the plot of Tampopo." Directed by Juzo Itami, Tampopo is a culinary comedy masterpiece. It builds the entirety of its plot around food, its cooking, its eating, and the various social constructs that food inspires. Food is the thread that holds the narrative in place. It is the source of conflict, joy, pain, and for one of the characters, it is a major player in his pursuit of erotic pleasure. So what is it that I like about Tampopo? Glad you asked, because I've been itching to tell the world. Food is everywhere in Tampopo. The movie starts and ends with food. In the opening scene, a gangster, or rather mysterious character, is served an expansive assortment of meals at a cinema. If you know how much food costs at the cinema, you also know this must have been his first and only movie date. The poor man would have had to declare bankruptcy afterwards. In the final scene, we watch as a mother breastfeeds a child in the park. I have no further comment about this scene. None at all. You know what? I actually do. The director is a genius. Is there a better way to end a movie that's covered the entire spectrum of the human culinary experience? At the very innocent end of this spectrum, we have workers who rush into a ramen shop after a hard day at their desks. Somewhere in the middle, we have those obsessed with food. Goro, Gun, and Tampopo are these characters. They spend the entire movie trying to perfect ramen, and arguably, they get their time's worth. To their right, we have the snobs. The Japanese lady who believes that pasta should be eaten with utmost etiquette is a good example. At the extreme end of this spectrum are the weirdos. There's a lady with a fetish for squeezing fruit and any produce she comes across. There's also our gangster and his girlfriend, who seem to incorporate food into any and all of their fun activities. Therefore, after traversing every rung of this wide culinary spectrum, Juzo Itami must have been out of ideas. How to end a movie that had already said so much about food. This is why he had no choice but to showcase our primordial culinary delight. Or so I believe. Tampopo is a western. It doesn't shy away from this fact. Goro drives a truck with cow horns as decoration. He's dressed in a manner reminiscent of John Wayne in lots of his westerns, or even Henry Fonda in the 1946 movie, My Darling Clementine. He wears a cowboy hat, an accessory he's rarely separated from, even when he's taking a bath. However, costume doesn't equal genre. But if you've watched 1964's A Fistful of Dollars or 1953's Shen, you'll immediately identify this movie as a Western. They are kindred movies as far as the theme or the vibe is concerned. Although for me, this is where the similarity ends. Unlike those two, there's little death in this movie. After all, we are here to be made hungry and happy. We are not meant to be on the edge of our seats, worried about the fate of our cowboy vigilante. Japan has flirted with westerns before. Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo was inspired by American westerns. Yojimbo then inspired A Fistful of Dollars, turning this into an Ouroboros of filmmaking inspirations. Japanese directors have also flirted with other American genres, including film noir. In 1948, Akira Kurosawa released Drunken Angel, which is an out-and-out film noir. While our cowboy Goro is battling enemies in his culinary Wild West, our favorite gangster is caught in a noir film from the 40s. This can be seen in how differently dressed these characters are. It is also evident in the fate of our gangster. He dies at the end of the movie, as is expected of any film noir gangster. Tampopo begs Goro to teach her how to make ramen. She believes it's the only way to escape the attentions of Pisken, a local goon who wants to marry her. So how will Goro take Tampopo from being pathetic at ramen to being one of the best? Obviously through a training montage. And this is where Juzo Itami, the director, adds a new genre to the mix. I'll call it Rocky. So now, we have Goro living through his western, our gangster in his 1930s film noir, and Tampopo living through a Japanese culinary remake of Rocky. We also have elements of silent films from the 20s. The scene with the homeless gourmets contains a part where one of them makes omu rice for Tampopo's son. This seems to have been inspired by Charlie Chaplin's The Kid. From Goro training Tampopo to the high-end restaurant scene where the executives are embarrassed by a junior who is able to navigate a French menu, this movie just gets my humor. Of course, the world is full of funny movies. After all, comedy is one of the medium's earliest experiments. What sets this movie apart from others is that there are many impressive scenes that turned it from a funny movie to one that has stuck with me. The pasta eating scene is one of these. The ladies being trained how to eat pasta go from observing etiquette to copying the American who is slapping down his spaghetti with reckless abandon. The entire storyline of the rich old man who is not meant to eat certain foods, but keeps eating them anyway, is another highlight. The comedy scenes are so good that sometimes I forgot about the movie's main goal. Tampopo needs to become a better ramen chef. There's also the storyline of the lady who has a fetish for squeezing fruit, bread, and any food item she comes across in a convenience store. The store owner knows she's doing it, but has not caught her red-handed. The entire scene might as well be straight out of Tom and Jerry. The homeless gourmet scene is one of the funniest things I've ever watched. The fact that these down-on-their-luck characters are able to deliver food critique with such clarity made me love Tampopo even more. The scene made me intensely aware of how food critics communicate and how one ends up sounding when they believe that the taste of wine can be communicated through words. The entire reason we have this scene is because Tampopo has tried and failed to come up with a good broth for her ramen. Goro brings her here to meet Sensei, an OBGYN turned gourmet. This is yet another humorous detail. If Sensei is a doctor, why is he homeless? Surely, just because his wife and assistant took away his clinic doesn't mean he's lost everything, right? But what do I know? At the end of the scene, the homeless characters sing a song to bid Sensei farewell. This is ridiculous. In no context is this acceptable. If I saw it happening in the real world, I'd call the asylum on everyone involved. Tampopo doesn't waste a single character. This, in my opinion, is the mark of any great movie. So far, I've not even spoken about Gun, who is Goro's co-driver. He's played by young Ken Watanabe, and is the perfect sidekick to Goro's cowboy. After all, where would a good cowboy vigilante be without his trusty gun? The gangster and his girlfriend are other great characters whose scenes are a showcase of pure hedonism. Even the ramen shop owners that Tampopo and Goro visit, while she's trying to hone her skills, are all brilliant characters. The old man, his butler, and his daughter, or assistant, are another trio that are impossible to forget. This being said, I'd like to focus on the characters from the funniest scene in the movie. Funniest for me at least. A man has been called home because his wife is on her deathbed. When he arrives, we meet a nurse and doctor who seem to have teleported out of Victorian London. But no matter, Tampopo has been doing a lot of time bending already. The man has to do something to revive his wife, and so he picks a tried and tested cure. He orders her out of the bed to cook him and his children a meal. The wife, mastering the little energy she has, cooks fried rice, serves it to them, and then immediately dies. The children start to cry because, come on, the father is stoic though. He orders them to eat the food while it's warm. After all, it's the last meal their mother made. This scene is perfect. It is Tampopo in a capsule. It has everything: food, pain, joy, hope, and characters that are impossible to forget. There are many other movies I could have picked in 1985. For example, I already like A Room with a View, and I'm sure I'd have a lot of fun watching Taipei Story, Vagabond, or Brazil. Akira Kurosawa's Run came out this year too. Back to the Future and The Breakfast Club are other highlights. And if you'd like to watch Jackie Chan in his prime, Police Story is there too. Come and See, another masterpiece, was released this year. I will definitely return to 1985 just to cover Come and See. I started with Tampopo because I love fictional depictions of chefs. I love 2014's Chef and 2001's Mostly Mother. I get lost in TV shows on Netflix that have a chef as the main character. However, none of these culinary fantasies threaten Tampopo's throne. It is a perfect movie about ramen, an impressive condensation of the human experience, and best of all, it's one of the funniest movies I've ever watched.